Good morning. Of course, it's not possible to be Reverend Ron. He is here in spirit, and I don't mean that just in that sense that we always say when we wish we were somewhere, but he's here in all kinds of ways, in the words that I'll be reading shortly, in the sentiments that Lynn's going to be sharing, in the music that Jay's going to perform, Patricia's going to sing, and in all of your thoughts. So let's take an opening, kind of deep, cleansing breath in Ron's honor. Send him thoughts of recovery. So of course we're joined by our remote viewership. So wave to everybody. Thank you for joining us. As Lynn said, today we honor Earth Day. We celebrate and honor the literal ground of our being, the matter that enables spirit and personhood, that gives us form and will receive us when our forms have served to their end. We live on the most vivacious, dangerous, exuberant, deliriously diverse compaction of elements in the universe, as far as we have seen. And we have somehow put so much of that majesty, including ourselves, in peril. And so we hope to save it. Not an unkind impulse at all, but also perhaps slightly out of line. Last week, we reflected on how the deep knowledge revealed by the tale of Gawain and the Green Knight is that the only chance we have is to stop prioritizing survival and shift our focus to how we are in the world for its own sake. What that feels like is love. So do you have a place, a geography, a tree, a canyon, a view, a creature, or a creek maybe that you love? Specifically, think of a specific place, a tree, a creek, something else that you love. Maybe you have many, but pick one, just one, to focus on for this moment. Maybe it will help you to see it if you close your eyes. Maybe it will help you to be there if you slow your roll and take another deep breath. And then another. As you're thinking of that place, what does it smell like there? What is the light like? What do you hear? Is the ground there gritty or soft? What bugs and other critters might fill out the soundscape? What would it be like under a night sky there, thick with stars? Do you love that place? Will you let your love emanate from you to that surrounding? Can you feel yourself yearning to be there? Imprint your senses and remember your yearning. We'll return to them before we part.
As we approach the time for our offering, give what you will for the church that has meant so much to you, for the church that meant so much to those who came before you, and for the church that will mean so much to people you will never know.
I invite you to feel for the beating of your hearts. I can't feel mine here, but I can feel it here. As we draw in breath, we call in the stories to find a home in the soil of our being. Their name was Berserach de Outdeser, and they were green. Green hair, green skin, green teeth, green clothes, mounted on a green horse. And though they did comport themselves as the knight, it was not clear who or what they were a knight in service of. Bergerac, however, had no doubt. They lived in service of the health of the natural world, and they had noticed that the knights around King Arthur's round table, while strong in the virtues of strength, chivalry, courage, and keeping of promises, were starting to lose track of the green virtues of balance, moderation, and reciprocity. And so it was that one Christmas, the Green Knight rode their green steed into King Arthur's great hall in the middle of the holiday feast. For entertainment, they offered up a challenge. They would allow one knight from those present to deal them a single blow, and they would not defend themselves against this blow. But when a year and a day had passed, that knight must promise to present himself to the Green Knight to receive a like blow in return. After a long, awkward silence, Sir Gawain stepped forward to accept the challenge. The Green Knight dismounted and swept the hair away from their neck to invite Sir Gawain's blow. Sir Gawain raised his axe high and with a single stroke swung it through the Green Knight's neck. Sir Gawain grinned around the hall, confident that the death of the Green Knight would mean the promise to receive a like stroke in return was canceled. The grin faded. Gawain's face paled, however, when the Green Knight rose, retrieved their head, and mounted their steed. "Come find me at the Green Chapel next Christmas," they called as they wheeled and departed the hall. The year passed, and on All Saints' Day, Sir Gawain set off to find the Green Chapel and keep his dire promise. He wandered over much of England, and finally, cold and hungry, with time running out, he came upon a castle in the wilderness. Gawain was invited in to warm himself by the fire, where he explained who he was and what he had come to do. Since there were 3 days left before the year was up, and the Green Chapel was a short distance from the castle, Gawain was invited to stay. On the 3rd day, Morgan Le Fay, who lived in the castle, presented Gawain with a handsome green belt. She had woven this belt with a spell that prevented any harm coming to Gawain for as long as he wore it. On the fated day, Sir Gawain set forth from the castle. Following the guide he was given, the Green Chapel was indeed a short distance from the castle, and within stood Bergerac Outdesert, the Green Knight, ready with their sharp axe. Gawain knelt and bent his head, prepared to receive the blow. Yet when it came, he flinched. Once, twice, and on the 3rd stroke, held steady as Bergerac halted his swing with only a shallow cut in Gawain's neck. "Did you think that belt would save your life?" Bergerac chuckled. "Le Fay made you a promise she could not keep. There is no life without death. A person of honor lives so when death comes, they have no regrets." Ashamed that his courage had failed, Gawain slowly unwrapped the spelled belt and handed it to the Green Knight, then bowed his head to receive the fated blow. "When I made this challenge a year ago, I knew you would not kill me, even though you severed my head," admitted Bergerac. "I wanted to test the honor of the knight who accepted the challenge, as I have tested yours, Sir Gawain. Only a knight of honor will be strong enough to add the green virtues of balance, moderation, and reciprocity. If you treat the natural world with respect, learning the balances of a healthy ecosystem, taking only as much as you need, and sharing when you have more than enough, and giving as much as receiving, then the natural world will respond in kind. You will know sweetness and live out the fullness of your life. So Gawain stood, feeling a wild mix of relief, wonder, and humility. Then the Green Knight placed the belt over Sir Gawain's shoulder as a sash. Wear this as a sign of your service to the natural world. Go and teach as you have been taught. I invite you again to feel for the beating of your hearts. As we draw in breath, we give thanks for all that sustains us. As we send out breath, we give thanks for the stories we carry within.
In the 2018 and 19 UU Common Read called Justice on Earth, Reverend Adam Robersmith writes about the vital need to avoid despair in environmental justice work. He reminds us of Universalist Jose Ballou's teaching that we should not make change because of some hellish future, lest we link acting faithfully to fear rather than love. Instead, our faith calls us to make change because it is the right, loving thing to do now. As we move toward the world we dream and hope for, anger at the present state of the world will not be enough to save us. Despair for the world will not be enough to transform. And resentment at our own sense of powerlessness will flicker and fade out in darkness. Even optimism will not be enough. Hopes unrealized quickly sour into despair. Only love is strong enough to bear us into that future. Only a profound falling in love with the world which we dream of will give the energy, the power, the resilience, the joy that we need to make the work of building the future the work of our lives. For this Earth Day, Unitarian Universalist ministers along the Front Range in Colorado, joined by others around the country, have written love letters to the future. And we share a few of these with you today, including one from Reverend Ron. So Reverend Ron Ferris, minister of All Souls UU Church in Colorado Springs. Nobody probably knows who that is. Innumerable stars. When I see you, really see you, finally and once again in all your knitted depth, I find myself barely able to breathe, barely able to do anything but breathe, only to sit and yearn for your whispered recognition. You glimmer outside my open window like some welcome succubus come to lure me into, out of, and back into my own body and home. Now that we have dimmed our cities, the light of your night body both calls me forth and presses me down to the path beneath my feet. You are my guide and medicine, lacquering the hips and dips of voluptuous geography as you seed lore into seasons and fields and verdant minds. My teacher, my ancestor, my heavenly body, you light my lover and the way to my lover. I cannot wait to see you again, to be reduced by awe in your Milky Way, to gasp you in, drink you, unafraid of darkness, filled and lit up once more. You were right about the beavers, by the way. Their midnight pools mirror your gaze and give it back to you just as they give the land back its saturation, its life. It beckons all the great and all the small to find one another by your blessing, and there to find themselves spiraled into one another in imitation of your lusty dervish, making stars themselves, seeing galaxies with their eyes blissed shut. I am glad you told me to leave them be. I can't wait to see you again. I love you, I look to you and find my way. Yours, Reverend Ron Ferris.
This letter comes from Reverend Eric Banner, minister from First Universalist Church of Denver, who was in our pulpit a few weeks ago with a pulpit swap. Beloved Prairie Home, I write to you from this far remove of time, and yet my very soul delights to see your loveliness unfolding. I long to wander your river valleys, wetting my toes in sandy streams that flow from mountains far away and off to oceans I will never see. To see your river running smooth and steady over and around the gravel bars where grebes and coots wander, herons rise from the shallow waters, and children gather the left-behind reminders of hickory nuts and black sand shells now returned, their knackers shining in the summer sun. Your water flows clear between my legs while sturgeons swim calmly by, and Neosho mad toms and Topeka shiners dart in and out of side channels fed by springs that flow once more. There, along the banks, rise cottonwoods of every age, the young ones just now rising, stems still green from this year's growth, and there the great old trees that spread their shade, underneath which grow the walnut, oak, and hickory, standing strong against the winds, waiting to be harvested with care, making room for others to grow anew. I long to be held in the curves of your rolling hills, while blue stem rises high above my head, swaying in the breeze that smells faintly of new-cut fields, promising rich mouthfuls for the family of life, my children's lives, their children's lives. Here the white-tailed deer bounding off into the distance, there the bison that wander through this time of year, and then to climb to the highest places, looking off into the distance where windmills harvest the power of possibility, gently spinning all day long, while hawks ride currents invisible to our eyes, but known to all the feathered ones looking for their next meal. From this vision of you, there is no escape for me. Your voice sounds gently in my ears. Your touch lingers upon my arm. Your form fills all that is and all that will be. And I am grateful for it. It calls me on again and again until we make it real once more. Until that day comes, I hold you in my heart, my hands, and in the fullness of my days. Eric.
This next one is from Reverend Kelly Dignan, co-director of the UU Ministry for the Earth. And if you were able to make it to the installation service a couple of weeks ago, you heard her give the main message. She was so good. I, for one, am hoping that she makes it back here to visit us. Dear Denver, I am the fourth generation of my family to be raised in your embrace. Now 3 more generations have been born, making 7 of us. I am awash with gratitude for the deep roots that bind my family and you. As always before, the bright Colorado sun bathes your streets, and snow blankets the mountain peaks in your skyline. Blue spruce and bristlecone pine stand tall, whispering tales of resilience. But now, not like in times gone by, I adore the sight of community solar panels on rooftops, casting their benevolent glow. A lush tapestry of community gardens creates a blend of cityscape and urban agriculture where hands join in harmony to nurture the soil and cultivate sustenance for all who hunger. The Platte River and the Cherry Creek are clean waters now, weaving their own tales of resilience and renewal. Because the refinery has been removed and replaced with affordable housing, clean air fills all lungs, Air also carries the joyful hum of bees and the flutter of butterflies. Milkweed and purple poppy mallow, coneflower and sunflower, dotted blazing star, all stand unwavering, a beacon for the winged ones, reminding us of the delicate balance we share. Goldenrod and asters paint your streets with hues of hope, right along with painted art wall murals that remind us of the creative power of our fellow humans. The beating heart of your neighborhoods fill me with boundless love. Each street pulsates with the rhythm of compassion and camaraderie, neighbors side by side, ready to lend a helping hand in times of need. In you, Denver, I find solace and inspiration. You are a sanctuary where the beauty of nature and the spirit of community converge in perfect harmony. With ever-deepening love, Kelly.
Dear Mother Earth, I write to you today from a place of love, of hope, but mostly love. Your blue-green aura feeds my soul. Your furred, feathered, and scaled children who share this orb with us hold my heart. Your mountains, plains, and valleys give me strength, and your rivers, streams, and oceans flood my senses. It is you that I love in all of your power and glory, in all of your fragility and elegance. It is to you that I want to give my life and my love. I want to share this love so that my own understanding can guide and strengthen and promote further understanding by the children of the present and the future. May I help them to learn respect for themselves and for you. May lessons of peace and love bring understanding to them. The understanding that we are all a part of the interconnected web, and that their promise is to share their own love and kindness, their own hope, so that the unity which we form can bring to all of us the strength, the soul, and the heart to conserve what you give to us, what we can give to each other, and to the future. Yours in love and hope, Lynn. After the service, you can find these and other love letters to the future on the tables that are arranged in the small hall. There you will find the paper and pen to write your own. Remember the sensual imprint you created earlier? Write from your yearning, share them, or keep them to yourself. This is an exercise of necessary imagination. We must be able to dream of a thing such that it calls to us. So after service, you'll have the opportunity to do just that. If you're signed up for the new member class, though, you'll need to wait until that class is over. We are blessed to come alive in a wonderful world, and we will be blessed by the wonder the world will be. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in a song about today and tomorrow.
Oh, yeah!
Our faith calls us on to make change because it is the right, loving thing to do now. Only a profound falling in love with the world which we dream of will give the energy, the power, the resilience, the joy that we need to make the work of building the future the work of our lives.